Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. Google was giving me a bit of a hiccup. I hope the reception is clear for you. This is Kid Nate of BloodyElbow.com, joined once again by the inevitable, the ineffable, the one, the only Eugene S. Robinson. I had another NE thing, but I forgot it. You remember what it was?
Any
Inescapable?
ineluctable.
Ineluctable.
Inescapable is good. I like
Yeah,
inescapable.
yeah. But I mean, people have seen you grapple, so.
Oh, I got to crush that guy today. It was
Oh, the
great.
Navy SEAL?
Yeah, he was like, I guess I got this coming. I go, no, no, no. I'm injured. I'm not even thinking about that.
You're a petty and vindictive little man, Eugene Robinson.
Which is how I understand the man of the hour, the guy we came to talk about today. You know, I remember when Pee Wee Herman got busted for masturbating in a public space, namely a Pussycat Theater.
For shame, for shame. Talk about violating social norms. The man went to an adult theater, whipped it out, and masturbated. He must be banned from
Well, I don't know
children's
how they picked
television.
him amongst all the guys in there masturbating, but they did.
Have you ever watched the Pee Wee Herman behind the scenes VH1 special? The
No,
Hollywood behind whatever, you know?
no, no, no.
Dude, I came away from watching that show terrified and concluded just based on the TV show, which is obviously not a source, that somebody in law enforcement has a serious decades-long hard-on and vendetta for Pee Wee Herman, man. He has been busted repeatedly
For
for the
what?
kind for all kinds of nonsense. Like one time he bought a collection of old erotica, like from the 20s. Like he bought some old pervert's collection
No,
of stuff.
I thought that was the guy from Ferris Bueller who
They
did
were
it,
both
Jeffrey
in on it, and
Jones.
they both got busted.
Oh yeah, okay.
They both got busted, but it's not the kind of shit that, you know. I mean, if a Google's executive had bought that, that would not have been a bust. I mean,
Well, hey, okay. You remember Jock Sturgis? Jock Sturgis was a San
oh, the
Francisco.
photographer, the kiddie porn guy that gets away with being a fine art photographer and is faded
Ah,
and in the museums and so
good.
on and so
Yeah,
forth.
good that you saw through the smoke of the mirrors. Like he got busted and became a cause célèbre in San Francisco. It's like, oh, it's under a conservative administration. He's being bum rushed. Yeah, well, the guy in the photo lab was a friend and known associate of Oxbow's, and he was like, look, I'm a supporter of art too. I'm a left-wing Democrat. I'm not part of any right-wing Republican witch hunt, and I'm telling you that the stuff that he submitted to the lab was not the stuff that's making it into museums. The stuff that he submitted to the lab is why I call the cops, and that's what the public hasn't seen. So, I don't know. With Pee Wee Herman, you
It
never
wasn't
know.
just that bust. I mean, it's talking throughout his whole career, all kinds of nuisance busts, like
Yeah.
pot, sex. I mean, just all kinds of shit. To the point that made me think like somebody, either Pee Wee is, because my wife works in law enforcement. People only get arrested like 1 out of 100 times they fuck up.
Right.
Like that's like when you look at like athletes of especially in the 70s and the 80s,
Right.
assume that 80-90% of the big time names you heard about had big Coke spoons in their noses the whole
Yep.
time.
Or,
And
or,
only
or look at yourself in your life. How many,
well, I'm a clean whistle, Eugene.
how many
Obviously,
times have your arrest to escape record? Most of us get away with stuff more often than we don't. So.
exactly. And so, I mean, it's entirely possible. I mean, we're well off topic here. That Pee Wee Herman.
No, we're not, because the Pee Wee Herman went on David Letterman afterward, and his first line afterward. So
Seen
he
any
said,
movies lately?
yeah, no, heard any good jokes lately?
Yes, of course, That's right.
Yeah.
I
So
always
that
fuck up the
I
joke.
thought that was a PR, a genius PR move. All credit to Pee Wee Herman, but that's not why we're here today.
No, we're not. We are here to talk about Jon Jones, UFC light heavyweight champion. In the days after his very impressive victory at UFC 182 over Daniel Cormier, crushing unanimous decision victory, it's announced that he tested positive for cocaine on December 4th, weeks
Yep.
before the fight.
Yep.
The Nevada Commission claims they have no legal authority to sanction him in any way, shape, or form.
What do you mean claims?
Well, they're saying. I mean, maybe they're right. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what they're saying. My source is them. That's
Okay.
all.
All right.
So they claim that they have no legal right to sanction him because cocaine is not banned as an out of competition substance,
Correct.
which makes the question: why are they testing for it if it's not banned?
Mhm.
But that is what it is. So he was not fined. The victory stands. The fight happened. The fight was not postponed or delayed. He was not suspended. He was not stripped of his title. He's not stripped of his victory. He went into rehab. Dana White announces we're so proud of him for going into rehab and solving his problems.
The only reason this is an issue is because he chose to go to rehab, and they reverse engineered it to explain why he went to rehab. If they had caught him with the substance, it doesn't violate NSAC rules. It's a non-issue. If it was like, you caught me December 4th, you know.
As far as NSAC, but I mean, the UFC has cut guys for testing positive for marijuana. Now, those tests were in competition, and that's the kicker, because marijuana stays in your system for weeks, even months after you use it. So there's no indication that anybody like Nick Diaz or Matt Riddle or any of these serial recidivist reefer heads that have failed drug tests, there's no indication they fought high or that they enhanced their performance with use of marijuana. And marijuana, which is legal recreationally in 2 states and legal medicinally in what, a dozen states, and cocaine, which is legal in a few states as a prescription-only drug. It's not a Schedule I drug like the Demon Reefer, but your dentist can use it as an anesthetic in most states. But nonetheless, I mean, cocaine is clearly the more dangerous drug. The far more expensive drug.
Cocaine is the most dangerous recreational drug there is.
Oh, we're going to get into it, my friend. Meth is way worse than cocaine.
No, I'm talking about out-of-pocket deaths associated with drug usage.
Because of the high prices, yes.
No. Going back to the epidemiological functioning of the drug, going back to Len Bias, you have more deaths attributed to cocaine usage than any other drug. But we can't make believe like we give a shit about drug users in America, because clearly we don't. I mean, so the issue.
We do like to arrest people for and put them in prison.
Correct. And if you want my take on what really happened, I will give it to you, because people have been tweeting and emailing me and asking. Naturally, we have to return to the font of all knowledge, the conspiracy.
Of course.
And some people, I'm not the first one to start to plumb the path of this particular conspiracy. Some of the commenters said on Knuckle Up said, what everybody seems to miss here. Go ahead.
I got to jump in. Before you unload the conspiracy, which I eagerly anticipate, by the way, I got to say, here's my take on what happened. Dude does a lot of coke, parties a lot, got a random drug test, got popped, in the story. Okay, go on.
Yeah, maybe. But for me, it's like Casablanca, where Claude Rains says, there's gambling in Casablanca, I am shocked, as he stands in the middle of a casino.
And collects his winnings.
Collects his winnings. So, look, somebody said, one of the commenters said, the story that everybody's missed on this is that this is not about Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. You have effectively missed the real target of Jones's ire, and it goes back to him being thrown under the bus, whatever it was, UFC 151 or 152. He said, this is Jones's war against the UFC.
So is this some sort of passive-aggressive war?
Not even passive-aggressive, man. You got your number one guy who needs to be brought. You could couch it as real concern, but this guy. I mean, he's committed a
pray for Jon and his healing, because John's a good Christian, and you and I both, of course, are men of the cloth.
Who among us could cast the first stone? But no, I mean, you got to bring this guy. I mean, we're talking the UFC here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you telling me he's the first guy in the UFC? I mean, come on. What you think? You think all these guys are animated and hamped up on the fight? You see Dana the other day? I'm not saying.
Yeah. No,
I'm just saying.
We're not saying, but I would be very interested to see some random drug test results from the Zuffa executive offices, and Joe Rogan will tell you he's not going to pass any drug tests just because of his weed smoking, right. But he sure is an enthusiastic guy. And then Goldberg, of course, had to stay in the hospital, and rumors flew. So plus, then we're talking Fox Sports executives now, TV executives and cocaine. Who ever heard of such a thing?
So I mean, but the thing is, at what point, when you got a guy and you've seen this with champions after champion after champion, there comes a point where you can't talk to these guys. You know, that's what my hashtag you can't tell me shit. You know, from Jack Dempsey, you know, to Mike Tyson on that show up in Canada, where he's become emblematic of my motto in life now. Fuck you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, I mean, I think the UFC was hoping for some leverage with a DC win. It's like, what are you gonna do with this guy? Moreover, there are compelling business reasons why you have to bring him the heel. You can't have this guy waiting to be discovered. You got to get in front of a story that, and now you got guys gunning for this guy. You know, I could have sold that story to US. At this point, he's enough of a target, enough of a star. I could have sold it to Us Weekly, People, E, and a Gawker. Now it's a story. Now you're in a position why people hate drug users. You're in a position where a guy can be fucking compromised because he's got something to be compromised over. Fuck that. You know, you blow it up, put him into rehab, and now you got a guy who's under control. You know, the question about whether he's a piece of shit or not, in my mind, you guys don't understand what it's like to be a champion. You know, it's not like...
But go ahead.
It's not... Man, this is a 365-day-a-year, 24-hour... You know, I mean, it's not enough to be training 8 hours a day that they can come in on your... You know, most of you leave work at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and you're done. You can go home and get as high as you want. And, you know, like Mr. Marcus, the porn star, said on the occasion of a female porn star running off the set crying, it's like, hey, she knew what the job was when she took it. You know, so you can say about these guys, they knew what the job, knowing what the job was and understanding what the job is, two very aggressively different things. You know?
It is. Once the experience, the psychic experience of having the belt around your waist and the hangers-on coming at you, the party invitations coming at you, the money coming at you, the rip-off artists coming at you, I think that is a very good metaphor for a young lady who thinks she might make it in the San Fernando Valley until she feels the hot splash of the lights, as it were.
Splash of light. I mean, and the reality of it is, you know, from my time at hanging out with female porn stars, you know, they never, ever pay for drugs. No way, because guys are using that as entree. You know, I mean, you know, what do you think Jon Jones is out there negotiating with guys? Okay, let's see. Now I got, you know, an 8-ball. How much you give me for? You know, he's not negotiating. People are like, here. I mean, you know, it take a saint to resist, you know.
Or somebody who just wasn't into coke.
Correct. Well, I mean, I'm putting coke in a basket of things that will get you in trouble.
Other goodies, yes.
You know, well, it could be meth, it could be heroin, it could be, you know, sex with women who are not your wife. It could be anything, you know. But you know what? The magic of this is, like somebody said, Jones is great not because of what he does so much in the cage, as what he takes away in the cage. And now he's even taken away the sobriquet fake, because you can't get any more real than rehab. So you got Jones the sinner full on, you know.
The combination of rehab, the coke bust, and the build up to this fight with the brawl and the video getting busted again, that was a setup. That was Fox Sports and the UFC setting the dude up.
Yep.
And I don't think he was in on it. I mean, he seemed visibly surprised when he's like, "This is."
The mic was on?
Yeah, the mic was on, and so now he is clearly, and I think he's much more likable now. This guy's a stone, two-faced dick, you know, and I love it.
No longer two-faced.
Yeah, he's revealed, but the two-faced thing is his gimmick. I mean, the way he was so happy with himself over when Cormier was like, "I can't believe you can turn it on and off like this, you piece of shit." Yeah. And Jones was like, "That's right," you know.
Yeah, but who hasn't? I mean, it ruined. Who was it? Arthur Godfrey back in the 50s. It ruined him.
Way before my time now, Dad.
So Arthur Godfrey was like a Johnny Carson before Johnny Carson, and Johnny Carson was a Jimmy Fallon before Jimmy Fallon, to put it in a modern context. And Arthur Godfrey had a version of the Tonight Show, and he was America's most loved host, you know. And apparently, you know, it's live TV. The cameras were still rolling when he fired, it's not Topo Gigio, but he fired somebody on air live. And it was something like, you know, you find out what a son of a bitch like Jerry Lewis is people were like shocked. But with Arthur Godfrey, it was major. It ruined his career. Never the same again. You
Wow,
know,
I gotta Google all this,
oh,
man.
it's
Now
great. Arthur Godfrey, great. And he was just, a lot like all
he's
the
not the
only guy.
guy who did the kids say the darndest thing and his daughter
No,
jumped out of the building on
no,
that
that
one.
was Art Linkletter, and
Art Linkletter. Okay, okay, good.
he was the same on and off camera. But you got a whole history of these
Presumably.
guys. Yeah, yeah, presumably, from Bing Crosby with the child beating to, George Burns said it best: sincerity is everything, and once you got that fixed, you got it made. Hey man,
Absolutely.
I go to my job, and you know what people say about me at my job? The Eugene they describe, my coworkers describe at my daily job would shock you. Eugene is so calm. He's so even-tempered. You're like an oasis of sanity. That's what somebody actually said in my office, an
Wow.
oasis of sanity.
That
Now,
must be an exciting workplace.
am I faking it or am I a successful professional?
Is there really a difference? That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there is, man.
No, no. But
Look,
Jon Jones wasn't very good at faking it. That's been his problem.
and like this guy who said to me, he says, "Oh, you didn't tap me last week," and I was like, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason for that, my friend. So Jon Jones is bad at faking it. Maybe there's a reason for that. Like Pee Wee Herman, who wants to have to wear the gray suit for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, very interesting conspiracy angle. But where does it go from here? Is the UFC, there's people already calling for the UFC to sanction this guy,
No,
take his belt, blah, blah, blah.
no, these people are dumbasses. Where the UFC and Reebok line up behind the guy. Look, I'll tell you a great story briefly. When I was at Adobe, there's a friend of mine who he will remain nameless. I call him a genius. How about that? And typically, he'll work a job, and when he gets bored with the job, he starts drinking. I mean, bad, like thrown into mental institutions, calling me, Eugene, they got my wallet. Go back to the mental institution and get my wallet for me. Running down the street in a hospital robe, full of, looks like the guy from Spider-Man. Who's that kid who was Spider-Man?
Peter Parker?
No, not that. The actor who played it.
The actor. Wait, there's an actor?
Yeah.
Like Gyllenhaal or something? I don't
No,
know.
the first kid who played. Anyway, so he looks like this guy. So totally normal looking guy. When he gets bored, he starts
Tobey
drinking.
Maguire?
Yeah, Tobey Maguire. Looks like
Okay.
Tobey Maguire. And then he goes into the boss's office and says, I've got a drinking problem. The boss goes, oh my God, puts him in the rehab. He gets 80% salary, and he can stay in the rehab for up to a year. So then he's bicycle riding, he's going to meetings, he's meeting chicks at meetings, he's getting laid, he's sitting right working on his novel, everything, right? Another guy at Adobe sees this. It was like, man, master at his game. And he goes into his boss's office and says, hey, I got a problem with crystal meth. And they fire him. Because crystal meth is illegal, alcohol is not,
Yes.
In this context, I just interviewed a cop who trains here. He said California's law is slightly different, but you could get him for a misdemeanor being under the influence. But if a guy walks up to a cop and says, on December 4th, I took some cocaine, there's nothing they can do about it. He hasn't broken a law. Maybe if you walk in as he's doing it, it's possession, it's under the influence. They're both misdemeanors unless he's got bags and bags of it. So this was, maybe Jon Jones really had a problem. Maybe they couldn't tell him anything. Maybe they needed to bring him to heel. All those things could have been a factor. He jumps into rehab. He jumps out. But the guy's not going to get sanctioned for what? It's not like he was beating his wife. It's not
Speaking
like
of Anthony Rumble Johnson, one of the contenders for Jones's belt, allegedly. I mean, police reports were filed, and then charges were dropped. Nothing came of it. The UFC investigated. Alexander Gustafsson allegedly has some skeletons in his closet from his teenage years.
such as, is this the white power thing, or did I miss it?
I'm not going to go into. No, it's not any kind of white power thing that I'm aware of. It's. I'm not going to go into it just because I don't have the facts. But it was rumors of violent, felonious conduct, and arrests for said. But I need to research that.
Which would not be surprising. I mean,
These are professional fighters. By definition, these are violent guys. So You know,
Well,
just
there's a reason why Anthony Rumble Johnson was invited out of Kung Lee's team, um, and it had to do with similar allegations that later made their way to light. But
yeah, and he's uh, pled guilty, I believe, to the cell phone smashing incident. So he's got a domestic violence record, criminal
mm.
record. So we can so he's no saint, definitely.
But there are also degrees of domestic violence. There's what is that guy, War Machine, and whatever that dumbass's name is.
Yeah,
There, there,
Copenhagen.
there's that level, and there's like, I'm talking to you, come here, get off the phone, and smashing the phone. I mean, technically, grabbing somebody's wrist is kidnapping.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
There's all kinds of ways to get
yeah.
into, but again, there may
I'm
be
not
a
making
pattern. There's
excuses for
smoke.
Johnson. I never
Yeah,
liked the guy very much myself. 'Cause
I love him as a fighter, and
I love him
honestly,
as a fighter. I just up close and personal, he always weird vibed me. So, but
yeah,
there are lots of guys who have done that.
I have no interest in any of the fighters up close and personal. So, as a fighter, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Yeah,
The dude is terrifying, and I think there's
yeah.
a place for terrifying people in a cage, fucking prize fighting. Like,
Right, right.
I really am not even like they could let him right out of jail and let him prize fight. It's just the question of do you want to have corporate sponsorship on said dude and so forth when he's completely out of control. But I mean, this is America, man. This is a country with no moral compass whatsoever.
Right, and I'm going to start from the point of view that I think, much like Kurt Schmoke, who was the guy who was a sheriff in San Jose or San Francisco, Hennessy in San Francisco, and the guy who was a head sheriff in San Jose. I think that drugs should be decriminalized. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's not like the UK has done it. I think it makes sense. It's not a crime.
I didn't know the UK did. I knew Portugal did it, but
no, the UK. Well, the UK says it's a public health issue.
well,
So,
which it is. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I've had probably more drug experience than the average person, mostly secondhand. Mostly secondhand. I'm not going to compare my drug experiences to you, Mr. Rock and Roll, but
no,
and
I'm
Mr. Straight Edge. I mean, I met Mr. Straight Edge, who's so clean and never touched the stuff.
Clean living.
Clean living, exactly. But I will say I've had lots of friends who've had terrible, devastating drug problems. I mean, to the point of giving themselves strokes and, endless stints in rehab, stints in jail, fatal car wrecks, so on and so forth. I've never once thought, man, I really want to help my friend. I'm going to call the police. They're going to help. Like, it's just a terrible, terrible solution.
I have a friend whose girlfriend called the cops because she was worried about him, and he had a 5 a.m. job, and he was sleeping in the front seat of his Jeep, and the cops pull up, said, your girlfriend called, they're worried about you. He goes, no, I'm fine. And the cop goes, what's that under your seat? And it turns out it was an intramuscular syringe. And he goes, this is a friend of mine, off to jail.
Yep. No good at all. A friend of mine's kid, 18 years old, having some kind of problem, and they get a text, hey, your kid's on Facebook threatening to kill himself. And so he storms down, he's asleep, goes down to his kid's room, is like, what the, are you okay? What's going on? The kid's like, I'm leaving the house. And they're worried about him. They don't want to let him leave the house because apparently he's suicidal.
I see this coming.
Yeah. So the dad, who's a big burly dude, the kid is smaller than me. Like, the dad's just trying to keep the kid in the house. Mom calls the cops because she wants them to help the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid swings at dad, and dad holds him down. No harm, no foul. The police get there. They feel they have to arrest somebody since it's a domestic violence call, so they arrest the kid for punching his dad, which did no harm whatsoever.
Yep.
And then the kid, gets arrested. The dad, anyway, ends up out thousands of dollars for getting punched, because he has to get the kid through court and blah, 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 and pay for him to go to school and rehab and all this nonsense. And so just the moral of the story is, unless you're really, really, really sure you need the cops, don't call the cops.
My mother at one point, we had like a 3-story, 4-story brownstone in Brooklyn. And at one point she had refinanced and said, "Oh, screw it! The mortgage is very high. I have to get a renter." And she had some renter, and I come home for Christmas vacation or something. She got into some dispute with the renter, I don't know. I think I was sleeping because I was still on California time. And the idea that you would have heard screaming and fussing in my house is usual. So screaming and fussing in the house, I don't make any. I'm not. It doesn't warrant being waking up. And then I hear my mother say these fateful words. She calls me Gene. She goes, Gene, and I go, yeah. Could you answer the door? The police are here.
Oh.
And this is Flatbush. Flatbush was like Flatbush, Brooklyn, mostly a black neighborhood, and these two big Italian cops are at the door. And my mother is ranting and screaming at this renter, and the renter is ranting and screaming. And you can see that the cops absolutely positively don't want to be here, and they're just trying to figure out, who do I beat to death? So, and they got to come in. Now, because they're there, they got to come in. And you haven't been a bouncer. I mean, I know what's happening. I let them come in. I sit down on the couch. I lean back, and I put my hands behind my head, both hands. I can't do both hands because I'm holding the camera now, but both hands behind the head. And I said, well, officer, I was sleeping, and my mother apparently called the police because the renter here was giving her a hard time. And I'm speaking just like this, calming. Finally, the cop said, well, Mr. Robinson, it seems like you have things under control here. Please call us again if there's a problem. And I was like, thank you. And I'm thinking, I won't. And those guys leave, and I lay into both of them. I go, get together. I don't want to be woken up out of my sleep by nervous cops. Thank you.
No, that is extremely scary.
Anyway, back to. So I understand the desire of haters to say, we want this and we want that, and what kind of champion? Come on, what do you think this is, tennis? Do you think this is tennis? Who are these guys? How many of you speeded on the way to your jobs this morning? These are freaking fighters, man.
Remember when Chuck Liddell showed up and passed out on the morning show? I
interviewed the journalist who interviewed him. The guy said, my 20 years of being on TV, this is a TV station in Texas, I never experienced. He goes, the UFC said he was ill and had taken a little too much cough medicine.
That cough medicine, man, it'll get you.
NyQuil PM.
I've heard about some people that doing the Robitussin DM just by the bottle full. And don't do that. That is a very low-grade hallucinogenic that will, I'm told, cause you to think that your mother-in-law is a raging Bigfoot and that you're some sort of simian monster. And it just goes on and on and on for hours and hours.
If anybody, which I imagine there's nobody listening now who was, if you were a fan of the Oxbow Tour Diaries, I write about some off-book experiences with fentanyl. And it is the person who gave it to me was actually a 95-pound porn star, and she said to me before she gave it to me, there were patches, pain-killing patches. She said to me before, she goes, I took it and I was violently ill for 3 days, but you're much bigger than I am. I was like, of course you're a little lady. And so I was on tour and had some physical pain. I was like, perhaps I shall use one of those fentanyl patches. Fentanyl is the same drug that Vladimir Putin pumped into the theater in Chechnya when they had Chechen separatists. There's a reason for that. So I said, well, I have a show to play tonight in Nottingham. Or was it Nottingham or at Ayrshire Arms? That's all I remember is the name of the club. And I put the patch on kind of close to my groin area. And maybe I even put half the patch on, even though it says explicitly not to cut it in half or do this. And I go, just something to take the pain away, because, I'm jumping around on stage every night getting hurt. And it was wave upon wave of seasick nausea. And it kept plateauing. I kept expecting it to stop, and it kept going higher and higher. And finally, in a panic, I ripped it off. And it was so bad that I said, I need something. I got to get out of this thing. I felt like, I went to a convenience store to buy a Red Bull, and I looked so bad. But the guy would not even touch my cash. He goes, put it down. He put it down. I put it down. He used a pencil to take it.
Wow.
He dropped my change on the counter and said, thank you, goodbye. And then somebody took a picture of me in this state And man, and then I found out later that it's a drug that anesthesiologists most use to kill themselves, and typically they put about 20 patches on, and then, you expire pretty quickly. But it was such a terrible experience that even now, recounting it for you, I'm feeling ill. It's horrible.
Wow.
Do not
Wow.
do not do it. Kids, listen to Eugene. No
That's
ache or
right.
pain is worth it. But I'm not a professional athlete. What can I tell you? So
Yeah. Well,
I think the likelihood that any of these other things, I could understand hating Jon Jones. I could understand the fact that he dismasted one of your heroes, really yanked his soul out of his body, in Daniel Cormier. I think you should follow Daniel Cormier's lead. He goes, hey, I wish the guy luck in rehab. What can you say?
yeah, but I think as an editorial, it's like Anton Tabuena on Bloody Elbow wrote an op-ed saying that Jones should be stripped. I think that's perfectly
Who
fine.
wrote it?
Anton Tabuena. If that's his opinion, that's his opinion. It's perfectly fair game to write a sanctimonious op-ed calling for sanctions because somebody's violated the rules. Fair enough. I think that's totally fine. I think it should be part of the discussion. I think that Dana and the Fertitas should be held to the fire with some criticism for this, especially after they fined Nick Diaz so much money and stripped him of victories for the marijuana tests, even though that in competition, out of competition distinction is made. Nobody buys that as a valid distinction.
No, but you got to understand, this is the Mike Tyson thing. You remember Tyson fighting Holyfield, and you remember what happened after the first time he bit his ear?
I don't actually.
They said, if you do it again, you're done. And he did it again, and he was done. Nick Diaz got popped how many times for weed?
At least twice.
Correct. He was given a bye on the first time.
No, he wasn't. He got busted on the Gomi fight and lost the victory and got suspended and paid a big fine. There goes your story.
Well, I think more it was the fact that he goes, weed is a permanent part of my life, and that's that.
An outspoken outlaw, that Nick Diaz.
He said, I violated the law, and I'm going to continue to aggressively violate the law, and you do what you got to do. Whereas Jon Jones said, I got a problem, see you later. In fact, this is a famous American two-step. No matter what you get busted for, immediately confess, contrition, go to rehab.
Like sitting Senator David Vitter of Louisiana, who was cold busted with hookers, and not just with hookers, but then allegedly it was revealed that he liked some sort of game with hookers involving adult diapers. Now, I don't know anymore. I don't know if he was wearing the diapers or she was wearing the diapers, but that is some...
Don't look up Diaper Pail Club.
No, do not look up Diaper Pail Club. That is some sick, disgusting revolt. I mean, if you were a big lobbyist in Louisiana, just shaking the hands of somebody that is that is just yuck time.
So what we're talking about is America's relationship to sin, really. You
got to be a hypocrite. You got to at least agree with the social consensus that, look, this is bad. I'm sorry I did it. People are willing. Sometimes, especially the most conservative people, I think that the conservatives tend to have a better sense of forgiveness and failure and the human capacity for failure than the liberals in our society.
Because I've not yet met a single conservative who hasn't had serious crisis points in their lives. It's like, from alcoholic fathers to, I know a woman who's ardent, insane, like conservative, was kidnapped and raped, held over 3 days. I mean, in every instance, there's been serious crisis points that cause you to want reality to hew to very strict fucking lines, because outside of those lines are chaos. I've not had a lot of chaos in my life, so I'm quite comfortable being a liberal, letting people do what they want. But, a girlfriend of mine was super ardently opposed to pornography. She was plenty sexy and had a pretty active sex life, but in her past personal history, she had reason to build a connection between people who view porn and criminal activity, specifically vis-a-vis a grandfather, and she goes, he would watch porn and craziness would come over him, and she would have to literally physically run from the house to escape from her grandfather. She's got conservative ideas because you have to control reality, so...
It's the classic, every liberal is just one mugging away from the GOP. It's the
Oh,
You
yeah,
know.
crisis causes desire for lack of crisis and lack of chaos. So,
So,
yes.
but back to the UFC and Fertitta. I mean, so you think that the Dana and the Fertittas have done what they needed to? Congratulate Jones on his a bold decision to go into rehab and support him all the way, and book the next fight. Like, you think that's the
Yeah, I
game
mean,
plan?
I mean, the guy has come out and said, I had a problem. You know, what if, I mean, Pete Rose is still not in the Hall of Fame. Why? You know, I mean,
Gambling, recidivist gambling.
yeah, it's one thing to say I have now. If Jon Jones needs to know this. He needs to know that he's been given a ticket. You know, if he's got to stay so clean from here on out, otherwise he's going to end up being, fucking Sonny Liston. You know, he's going to
Yeah,
end
yeah,
up being, I mean, the UFC has no interest in putting money in a guy who can't control himself. None at all. Because a guy
no.
who can't control himself suddenly gets compromised, and that's. I think on the one hand they could have done this to help him. On the other hand, it could have been done to bring him to heel. On the other hand, it could because you can't talk to him, and this is the only way. So I'm pretty sure
On the
they
other
want.
hand, it could have been just a totally bureaucratic bumbling along. Hey, let's do an out of competition test on this dude. He's in town. Like you really think every string is pulled with purpose?
No, yeah, I think the grapevine has been a buzz. I mean, look, I hate to say it, I hate to say it, but where there's smoke, there's fire, 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 fire. In each and every media case, you want to follow the denials. I mean, I hate to say it. I've seen it over time. Tom Cruise is gay. Tom Cruise is gay. Tom Cruise, I'm not gay, and he's suing publications for making the claim that he's gay. Well, who's never been accused of gayness?
Who's that?
Me. You know why?
I've read the comments on YouTube. You get accused of gayness all the
Yeah,
time. Maybe
well,
that's me. I don't know.
yeah, people can make comments, but nobody's actually come out with an accusation because there's not a single guy who could come out and say, I had sexual contact with Eugene. He touched my pee-pee. Okay. When?
So it's only gay if you touch his PP. But, yeah,
Yeah, right.
I've
So
heard
I
these.
mean, I'm not saying rumors, whispered rumors without substantiation. If you're John Travolta, you go, show me the proof. Show me the proof. Some guy said he was chased around a bathhouse. Prove it. So I like to go to bathhouses. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it.
I just like to relax in the steam rooms, just pat
But
around on the floors.
what I keep waiting for is I keep really God. I don't want it to be me, but I'm waiting for the one guy to stand up, the politician, the business leader, the celebrity, the entertainer who says, sports figure goes, so you got me. So what? Yeah, who among you hasn't,
Yeah.
I'm looking for that unrepentant voice, and I haven't seen it yet because the system is designed. And somebody told me, and I'm not going to say the guy who told me, he was like, Eugene, you're a dumbass. Don't you realize what sits behind all of this? It's money on top of money. There's no corporation in America that's going to, I mean, like I said, somebody said, what do you think about this Jones thing? I go, there goes the Wheaties box.
Yep. But Reebok is standing behind him. Of course, they're in for
Reebok
a
is standing
penny and for a
behind.
pound.
Reebok is standing because it's a smart move on Reebok's part to keep standing behind the guy. He's not going to stop breaking records. 27-year-olds fuck up,
Yep.
But he's not getting on any Wheaties box. And
No.
and the news flash should go out to somebody like Anthony Pettis. You're on that box. You gotta be beyond reproach 365 days a year. Can't be losing your temper. Hey, I went to some porn party in LA. I think it was like Evil Angel had some party. Said, all right, everybody come on out. So I go to the party, and there's a guy there from the Atlanta Falcons. And this guy was scared to death. He said the Atlanta Falcons had hired a team detective. He goes, that's not really what the guy was called. It was like a player relations guy or something. And his sole job was keeping these knuckleheads out of trouble. And he goes, the fact that I'm here, and of course, with him is a guy who I presume to be his handler. It's not a handler, it's an enabler. So I'm hanging out with this Russian guy who says that he's Oleg Toktarov's cousin, right?
Uh-huh.
I knew I'm in trouble when the guy starts saying, Eugene, you and me are the only real men in here. I'm like, oh, God. This is when my leg was gimped up. So I'm trying to limp away from the guy, and he keeps pulling me back. And he's like, this is my friend Eugene. He fights for the UFC. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I got to. He's throwing ice at the bartender, and the bartender's like, what the fuck? He goes, Eugene, you got to stay. My girlfriend's going to show up. I was like, okay. I'm going to meet this guy's girlfriend. I'm sure he's got to go. The girlfriend shows up. Beautiful. She's actually beautiful. I go, great. Nice to meet you. I got to go. He goes, no. She's going to bring a friend for you. And I was like, I wanted to just friends. Friend shows up, totally predatory of the LA type. She's beautiful. So I go, I'll chat with this chick for a bit. The enabler for this Atlanta Falcons guy, I turn around to go to the bathroom or escape. The enabler introduces this woman to the Atlanta Falcons guy. The Russian guy flipped out and goes, hey, this is a shoving match ensues, and next thing you know, this Atlanta Falcons guy is in the fucking mix of it. He is just trying to get away. The Russian guy is chasing him. The girls are screaming. I'm trying to hobble down the stairs to get the fuck out of there. The enabler is pushing and shoving. It's like, man, oh man, not where you want to be, you know. So, I mean, it's you know, I don't know what Matt Hughes is doing. But, you know, you got to, you know, it's
Somebody
hard.
might need to go back behind the barn for a pounding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be, like Dana White said sagely at some point, you guys in the media don't see it, but once these guys get famous, man, there's a whole stratum of night crawlers that come out. I went to interview Bettis from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were staying at a hotel in San Francisco, and I'm in the lobby, and I'm watching all these suitcase pimps with their girlfriends, giving the nod, and at first the girl, because I noticed, because the girl looks at me, and then she looks at her boyfriend, and the boyfriend is a spotter, and the boyfriend goes, like, that guy's nobody. Get the fuck out of here. Leave Eugene alone. He doesn't even shit. And then there's a football player. She looks at me and goes, and she goes over and like, can I have your autograph? Why are you asking for an autograph for somebody you don't even know who the hell they are, you know? And maybe the guy was an autograph salesman, or maybe he was a guy in for whatever. I mean,
the Dallas Cowboys used to have their camp just like a mile, maybe a quarter mile from my apartment, and it was insanity, man. The dudes would be coming from all these redneck yokels coming to pimp their wives out to the players and stuff, and just you could not buy a condom like for blocks of the facility. It was insanity, the stuff that was going on. The drug dealers, I mean, just the fights. It was crazy time.
It's like if you've ever read Day of the Locust by Nathaniel West, it is like that every freaking night. I went to Tampa last time the Super Bowl was there back in, 1999, and I saw one of the porn stars I knew. I was like, you know, I'm such a country mouse goes to the city sometimes. I was like, I didn't realize you were a football fan.
It's the biggest work weekend of our industry, man.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. She just looked at me like, man, Eugene, you're my friend, but I don't know how you got so stupid. And yeah, it was the biggest weekend of her life, you know.
Yep. That's, you know, it's
It was like Christmas for prostitutes.
a working Christmas for prostitutes.
Yeah. But you know, the $1,500 she was charging, she could have got from any guy who had $1,500, but $1,500 from a guy who might tip $1,500 for an hour's worth of work. You know, she said her favorite client was his stockbroker who would have her sit there while he made stock trades.
I've heard of that particular brand of idiot. I think you can down a shillelagh with me because I think I told this story, but about lawyers who just like to have hookers come over and watch them snort coke. Like, you know, I mean, I guess it's less lonely than
doing it, less lonely and degenerate than doing it alone. Correct.
Yeah. At least it seems like a party if you're having some hookers come over and watch you degrade yourself rather than just like this is just a habit. Like my own little tiny brush with success was I quickly learned I'm a vile person and will leap into any pitfall you put in front of me. And you know.
I've resisted better than that because I'm too much of a paranoiac. And I'm a bitter guy. It's like, when I was doing Code Magazine and hanging out with these celebrities, and people start to I said, Anga, it's funny. I don't remember you from Tuesday when I needed a ride. I don't remember. Now suddenly everybody wants to be my friend. You want to be my friend?
See,
Go
mine
straight
was
to
more
hell.
insidious because it was all people I worked with. It was all, and they were all in PR, and there was always new waves of young, new PR girls coming along. And as I rose the pyramid, of course, they liked me more and more, you know. But I was like, hey, they think I'm great. Like
No, you drank the Kool-Aid. You
I
believed
totally
it.
drank the Kool-Aid on how
Yeah.
awesome I was, man. And it was because I went from intern to director in like 2.5 years. Like I went from
Yeah.
$5 an hour to like a lot of money an hour. And I mean, it wasn't really a lot of money compared to what my bosses were making, but for me, it was like,
Yeah.
like what do I do with all this money was literally my problem at the end of the month, and that was never a problem I'd had before. I mean,
Yeah.
so it was a very heady experience, and my sympathies to Jon Jones. I certainly would not behave myself any better. In fact, the
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
the Caligula-esque bacchanals I would be scheduling if I was UFC light heavyweight champion.
Well, I
Was,
mean, even in the Bay Area, some of the pro fighters I know have, and there's one guy who's a super conservative, right-wing fighter. I will not mention his name because I don't like putting guys on Front Street with. I think I actually did mention his name on Knuckle Up, but I won't repeat it here. Would get calls from another fighter. Hey, listen, these two girls want to hook up with me tonight, but I'm a little busy with these two other girls. Could you fill in for me? Well, where are they? Well, they're in San Francisco right now. It's kind of a drive. Come on, I owe you one. I'll fill in for you. Okay. I mean, but you're not going to bust a guy for that because that's perceived as normal, but it's not really normal. So this idea that we should sanction the guy, we should yank him, we should do this thing. You know what? You know what's really dissatisfying? Let me explain to you something. Jon Jones is what? 20-1?
yep.
Who's being kid by that one?
Matt Hamill has the victory. He can go
Yeah,
to his
you
grave
don't even
saying,
see Matt Hamill pimping that like, yeah, I beat Jon Jones. I beat him. The one loss to me, baby. You take it and give it to Daniel Cormier. You think I don't even see DC saying, yeah, do that. You think he wants to get the championship that way? No. Come on. You've done nothing. You've done nothing. That does nothing. And this is not Jon Jones nut jumping. I'm fully if the guy does it twice, he's stupid. He does it once, in my mind, he's human. Come on.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not tricking anybody by yanking the guy's belt. Oh, he's not undefeated? Come on. Wise the fuck up.
Well, yeah, I just think it's too. I'm all for the UFC being as mercenary and but I'm also all for guys complaining about it as much as they want to.
Yep. Oh, well, and
But
this is how I feel about Nazis, Jews in World War II. I got it in. You can't. No. There's a famous documentary film guy who made a movie about post-war Germany, and he in essence said, you cannot deny the German people presently the moral imperative because of historical fuck-ups. And I started to agree with him more and more. I said, but this is not the same as telling the aggrieved parties to shut up. So both of these things can coexist. You can have aggrieved parties for the rest of forever being able to rack it on about how terrible it was, with the Jews, with the Germans saying, yes, the whole Nazi thing was terrible, but we cannot be denied a moral imperative to, for example, oppose policies in Israel that we don't like, or whatever, or oppose Islamic integration into our country. This does not make us right-wing lunatics because of this. So both of these things can coexist. We can complain, the haters can complain about Jon Jones. The UFC could say, well, he went to rehab and he's still a champion, and Reebok can back him. Both of these things can coexist. The needle doesn't have to move on this, in my mind.
yeah, now let's have a good discussion, and let's have it on Bloody Elbow. That's what I say.
Yep.
Come to the site, click away, view the ads, keep clicking, keep discussing. That's my cynical profiteering take on the whole mess. It's like it's been banner business for MMA media. I can't deny that. The Facebook fiasco and the cocaine business was bigger than the fight.
Well,
and the fight was big.
And this is something where, like Cabaret Voltaire said about when they did a Dr. Gene Scott tribute record, we are the last truly free voices in America. I know you're friends with Mr. Multiple MMA Journalist of the Year, Ariel Helwani, but the reality of it is the purity of our endeavor, because we can talk about this, it seems to me to be much more significant than anything that the UFC would presently allow. And I think the debate is healthy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All for freedom, freedom of discussion, and freedom to exploit other people's misery for clicks and ads.
Yeah, you guys, Bloody Elbow actually did something yesterday that I thought was dirty pool. I was going to bring it up. It was like Daniel Cormier's response to the Jon Jones rehab thing was, I thought, well considered and measured. The headline, however, in Bloody Elbow was, you know, something like Cormier harshes on Jones. It's like that. He really did it, man. Who wrote that headline?
I don't think that was Bloody Elbow's.
Yeah, it was for sure.
It was. Well, I had to, delete and apologize for the Jon Jones original post. I'm not even going to say what we said originally, except Zane Simon said it, and you better believe I was calling him that fucking idiot when he posted it. But the Cormier headline,
Yep.
Let me look at the Cormier headline. Cormier on Jones. Good luck on your rehab. That's our teaser.
That was the second one. The first one was something about your Facebook headline was something about rips Jon Jones on rehab. It wasn't, man. It wasn't.
Oh well, that's nothing, man. That's just.
One of us has journalistic ethics. Can you believe who
That
it
is not journalism. That is just a teaser on Facebook, man. And I mean, come on.
That's what we call BuzzFeed politics.
Hey, at least we're not Upworthy. This Jon Jones video will change your life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I met somebody from Upworthy the other day. She seemed very rich to me.
And cynical.
No, not at all.
Seemed sincere, but
she was rich and happy. Hey, when I had 3 years when I made a lot of money, maybe 2.5. When I had to work 3 jobs to do it, but I was making about $300,000 a year, like 1999, 98, 99, 2000. I was the nicest guy ever, man. I was like high-fiving guys, low-fiving guys, lending money to my friends, making money from my friends. And then when the bottom all fell out, I went back to some of those friends, and it was like, I'm going to put one on Front Street right now. Peter Bagg.
I knew you were going to say him. Is that the best you got? Because I got Adonis Shalala that. He's also the creator of Neat Stuff and Hate.
Yep.
And
okay, if you got Adonis Shalala, how much money did I put in his pocket?
Thousands and thousands of the work you.
How many thousands?
I don't know, tens of thousands.
$42,000.
$42,000, but he earned it with his cartooning.
He did, and I I don't cartoon. There's no way that he could ever pay me back, but I made a joke. I said, well, now that I'm been laid off, you could help me out. He's like, never heard from Peter Bagg again.
Man, maybe you could hit him up for an album cover. Patch it all up.
I don't like cartoons that much. I mean, we had Jim Blanchard do the one for Let Me Be a Woman, but I generally don't like that kind of hyper-real stuff or Oxford stuff. But never. The sound of the wind, it was like...
Well, he's a libertarian, dude. What do you expect? Every man for himself, Eugene.
What's funny is the guy has turned, because, of course, I'm in a position, again, to put money into my illustrator friends' pockets, but I shall not again.
I see. Well, that's too bad, because I'd like to talk to Peter Bagg about the Hollies and the Beach Boys.
Yeah. No, he's a good guy, but he's just kind of a nervous Nelly,
I see. Well, I can't blame you for holding a grudge. Like it's not even
not insignificant amount of money. I mean, I'm not saying he needs anybody to write, but you never know. He might be someplace.
Well, see, I've had that same experience with politics. Like, once I got out of politics, all these people I'd known for a decade and a half, it was like I died,
You know what we call that? We call that the chimp chill out.
Yep.
You ever go to the zoo and watch the chimps? They can just get tired of humans, turn their back on you. This is after the shit throwing, and you're dead to me. You're dead to me. Suddenly, or the Hollywood, the Hollywood stall and the chimp chill out, same thing. It's terrible, man.
Yeah,
because you can't figure out what's going on at first,
the thing is, for most of the politics people, I was just thrilled to not have to ever deal with them again. There were just a couple that I thought were actual friends, and that was just a life lesson for me to, no.
Yeah. This happened to me on one occasion, and then I was sitting at a job, and the guy's resume came across my desk, and I was like, Oh man, it was like that scene in A Clockwork Orange when they find him by the roadside. And I was
Hello,
like,
Alex.
well.
Well, Alex.
And I didn't just spike the guy's resume. I told him why I was spiking it. It was really delightful.
That is excellent. That is excellent. Well, on that happy note, I think we should call it a show.
Yes.
I don't know if we've spun our wheels to any purpose, but we've got 57 viewers, so presumably somebody's enjoying it. Maybe they're even finding it edifying. So our best wishes to Jon Jones for a healthy recovery. How's that?
That's pretty good, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight in July. And I'm going to send a message out to Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson. You need to focus on the job at hand, my friend.
Yes. Do you have a
Seriously,
pick for
Jack.
that one? Are you leaning Rumble?
I'm leaning Rumble, man. I mean, you can't. If you think a guy like Rumble is not going to take your chatter about you looking forward to facing Jones in July with prejudice, you're crazy.
Yeah,
Focus
yeah,
on the
but
job at hand.
absolutely, absolutely. But on the other hand, Rumble's also a guy I can see if he can't blitz Gustafson, he might be confused and alarmed.
Is it going to be a 5-rounder or a 3-rounder?
Oh, it's gonna be a 5-rounder headliner all the way, man.
Yeah, it needs to. Okay. All right.
So that's what makes it intriguing. I'm
Yep.
very, very excited about that fight. I'm very
Yep.
excited to see Jon Jones fight either one of them. Hey, I like to watch guys fight in cages. I'm not going to apologize for it. So
Yep.
tut, shame, Jon Jones. Bad. Can you give
Well,
me
he wasn't going to fight before July anyway. He's got
Can you
time.
give me a
to get
finger
back.
wag? Come on, give me a finger wag in the spirit of it. Come on.
No, I can't. I can't.
Oh,
I am no
clutch your
hypocrite.
pearls.
I'm not going to
Can we
sit
just
here
play a
and.
hypocrite on TV just for a second?
Okay. All right. Here you go.
Uh,
That's it.
You didn't even get it on camera. Come on.
No, I can't do that. Who am I? I'm the last person.
Well,
Believe me. I'm like Joe. I'm like Joe Rogan. Please.
Look, I'm just saying that I can say, hey, I'm a worse person than that guy is or would be if I had the same opportunities, but I can still muster up a tut, shame, bad
How
boy.
can you do that? How?
Because it's obvious I don't mean it. Come on.
Oh, I see. Here you go. All right.
Actually, I do mean stay on the straight and narrow. Don't fuck up your career.
No, don't. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if you've ever been given a second chance.
I'm married, Eugene. Let's do the math there. Yeah.
Well, it's like you get busted doing something, and I never have actually, but I have said to people, all right, yeah, okay, past is past. If you do this again, I have been in that situation, and when they do it again, I'm more than eager to follow through on whatever it was I said I was going to do.
Absolutely, because the alternative is if you let somebody do it again, then you're just guaranteeing they're going to be doing it again and again and again and again and again and
brings
again
us
and
back
again.
to Miller's Crossing. Look into your heart. Look into one of my favorite fucking films is Look into your heart. Can't let that guy go.
No.
Whatever.
We got to squeeze the trigger on that one. All right, Eugene. So we've
You know my problem with earplugs is that this big street fight I got into where they cut the side of my head open with a broken bottle. When a doctor who was not a plastic surgeon sewed my ear back, he sewed the hole shut smaller than it was. So I always have problems with this ear, and my ears are tiny anyway, so I can't keep normal.
Next time I'm out there, man, I'll get my snips out and just fix that for you.
I've been thinking actually about going back to have them, undo the damage that he did.
You want anesthetic and cleanliness and everything?
Hey, man, I'm already doing surgery here at Sorrel Academy. I got the crazy glue.
Are you the chief doctor?
Yeah, I got the crazy glue, and I have a really sharp karambit knife around here somewhere.
Now, over the holidays, my kid busted his eye open on the trampoline. Like he somehow kneed himself in the face, and then, it opens up this gash on the bone right there. And for like 5 minutes, me and my mother-in-law are like discussing, should we go to the store and get some crazy glue? And like,
yeah, it works. That's what it was invented for.
We didn't need it. The scab sealed itself up, but like, it was not an area where we wanted stitches on the kid. And
no, that's the kind of health plan I'm in at my house. All my pets are like.
Only Ken Shamrock would have used super glue instead of getting stitches. That Kimbo fight would have happened. It would be a very different game in MMA today. All right, Eugene. So we've lathered on enough. So best wishes to Jon Jones. Don't screw up again, kid. There will be consequences next time.
Yep.
Dana White, you guys, some of these naive Bloody Elbow editorialists are going to keep you on your toes about this, and the controversy continues. So, and if you Conspiracy fans think that somebody set Jon Jones up, very interesting, something to mull about. So, follow us on
You got to
Twitter.
control guys. You got to control guys. Whatever way you could do that, come on. We all saw Godfather Part 2. How'd those dead hookers end up in the room? I don't
It's like
know.
that book, Nudge.
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta flow traffic control and just steer guys where they need to be. And so, if Jon Jones did have a problem, hopefully this clears it all up.
Yep.
So, all right. Subscribe to us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at KidNate. Read us on BloodyElbow.com. You can also read Eugene at Vice's Fightland, at Aussie.com, and read his book, Fight, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking, but you were afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
But we're afraid to get your ass kicked.
That's what I said.
You said you. But it's okay.
Well, anyway. So, and subscribe to MMANation.com and YouTube and give us a like. And so, Happy New Year. And also, guys, the plan to do the B channel thing and edit, that's on hold for now. So don't worry about subscribing to the other YouTube channel for now. So.
And I tell you, I look at your bookshelf behind you every time, and it galls me to no end to not see my book up there. I see you got Where the Wild Things Are. You got Dave Camarillo. You got a book on the Jackson 5.
This is where your book is. Don't make me pull it up.
Yeah, right. No. Don't. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get to work where I can be an oasis of sanity.
All right. Good luck. Take
Later.
care. Adios,
Good night.
MMA aficionados.
Later.